This is going to be an overview of the Works Progress Administration. What was it? What did it do? And did it work? So first things first, what was the WPA? The WPA was a New Deal program that was created by an executive order and signed by the President in May of 1935. As you already know, the New Deal was an act that Congress and President Roosevelt passed in order to bring our country out of the Great Depression. At the height of the Great Depression, unemployment reached 25%, and in some places it got as high as 35 to 40%, such as in my hometown of Monticello, Kentucky. Most people lost everything they owned. Soup kitchens and bread lines were set up all over the country because so many people couldn't afford to simply put food on the table. Specifically, the New Deal was created to give people jobs so that they could have money to go spend to buy products and thus jumpstart the economy. There was one WPA program for men and one WPA program for women. The men's WPA program hired unskilled laborers to go build things for the government. They would build buildings like post offices, hospitals, schools. They constructed and maintained roads in the counties, and they would build sewer systems in places that did not have them. They also built dams, parks, and many other things. These men didn't just build these buildings, though. The government also paid them to go in and paint giant murals on them to make them look better. If you've ever been to the Cincinnati History Museum and you've walked into the entrance, then you've seen the giant mural that has been painted there by the WPA men. The government also paid photographers to go around and take pictures of everything. Because these are property of the government now, anybody can use these photographs of the WPA. On the women's side of things, the ladies were sent out to do much more service-oriented projects, like making clothing out of donated materials from the local people to the local sewing centers that popped up all over the place. They delivered books to people out in rural areas through the Pack Horse Library program. They also taught classes to people who were uneducated or homemaking skills to people who could not do basic things like cooking and sewing. They performed secretarial work in public places like schools. They ran the soup kitchens, and they did many other things, because this list could go on for quite a while if I don't cut it off somewhere. By the time it was all said and done, the Works Progress Administration had employed over 8.5 million people in the 8 years that it was in service. It started to see its end in February of 1943, before officially shutting down in May of that year. So did it work? Well, yes and no. I mean, if you go in on the ground floor perspective and ask all the people who were employed by this program, the 8.5 million people, then I'm sure that they would all absolutely say yes, it definitely did work, because it saved them. The other big question, though, is, did it help to end the Great Depression, which is what it was created for? Kind of not. You see, by the time the program ended in 1943, unemployment was still at 15%, which is way too high. The thing in the end that really jerked us out of the Great Depression was a little thing called World War II. World War II caused the government to spend all the money, just all of it. And that spending caused the economy to be boosted. By the time that we finally got out of World War II, our economy was in an upswing, and that led us to where we are now.